Models are a great way to get a better understanding of the movements we need to make to change our posture for the better. Today, I would like you to follow along with a model I'm going to show you concerning the rib cage. To do that, all you need is a rectangular object. A book is nice, but a phone, a small box, or anything like that will work. So if you don't have anything like that next to you, hit pause and go grab something. I'm going to start with a quote from F.M. Alexander from his first book, where he's describing the condition of a student during their first lesson. He writes, "The upper part of the front of the chest was held unusually high, pouter pigeon style. The thorax was harmfully rigid." To help understand this problem and how to correct it, we will construct a model. This model was shown to me by Jando Masuero, and I think it's pretty nifty. So grab your rectangular object and hold it so that it's taller than it is wide. This will be our rib cage. We will imagine that we are looking at the rib cage from the side and that it's facing this way. So this is the front and this is the back. And I want to note that while this video will help make things clear, what will help you learn more than the model on the screen is the model in your hands. To start, we will hold the top of the front of our rib cage and the bottom of the back of our rib cage. Alexander said the upper part of the front of the chest was too high, so let's lift the front of our rib cage. I'll give you a moment to try it yourself. It should look something like this. Now to be clear, this is not a lifting of the entire rib cage. The back side of the rib cage has clearly gone down, but the front has undoubtedly lifted. The movement the rib cage is undergoing here is a rotation. This configuration of the torso, with the front of the rib cage lifted, is very common. You will see lots of people around you who are rotating their rib cage like this, and you can identify that by looking for the angled sternum. But we have an issue here if we want to correct the problem. Let's return to our model, but this time let's move the hand at the back of our rib cage up so that it's in the middle of the back like this. We can see that if we lift the chest, as most people do, that to undo that lifting, we will be bringing the top of the rib cage forward and down. But we don't want that. We do not want the rib cage to move down. We do want the top of the rib cage to go forward, but not down. We want it to go forward and up. How can we solve this problem? Think it over for a moment, pause the video if you'd like. How can we correct the orientation of our rib cage by going forward and up? The answer is by changing the center of rotation. Let's hold the front of our rib cage in the middle and hold the bottom at the back. Now let's go into that familiar bad rotation. What happens if you bring the lower ribs back in space? Give it a try. The lower ribs move back and up, and the top of the rib cage moves forward and up. That's exactly what we want. Most people have their lower ribs and abdomen too far forward, and with this rotation, we are getting that mid-torso back, but also up. Most people also have their upper torso too far back in relation to their mid-torso, and with this rotation, we get the upper torso to go forward by going up. So to get the correct orientation of the rib cage with a forward and up trajectory instead of forward and down, all we needed to do was change our conception of the rotation by moving the center of rotation. I think it's plain to see from this how our conception of a movement has a huge impact on the execution and result of that movement. If your conception is wrong, you're not going to get the result you want. The model I've presented today was shown to me by Jando Masuero, the creator of the initial Alexander technique. And if you are looking for help with your posture, I highly recommend getting lessons in the initial Alexander technique. In such lessons, which are conducted one-on-one over Zoom, you will have a teacher helping you to develop your ability to apply your rational mind to your movements. When you start to apply your rational mind, you can outsmart your bad habits. And don't worry, your habits aren't very smart. They will fall under the force of your reasoning mind when you're armed with proper mental models. Information on how to get lessons in the initial Alexander technique will be in the description. Thanks for playing along today, and you are always welcome back to this channel where we will continue to explore how to correct our posture in a rational way. Questions and comments are always welcome in the comment section below.